The most badass looking Transformer in the Energon universe arrives in this video. What's up everyone, James here, and we're back with Skybound's Transformers. Make sure to hit that like button. I told you weren't gonna have to wait long. So we pick up here with Thundercracker arriving at the Ark. You would think the Autobots would have some type of defense system or traps to prevent anyone from entering the Ark, but anyways, he came here searching for Skywarp. Remember, in the last video, he found out from Starscream that Soundwave had a hand in Skywarp's current condition, so he abandoned him during their fight with Starscream's brigade. If you didn't see that video, I'll have a link to it below the like button and at the end of this video. Thundercracker finds Skywarp and tries to free him from Teletran 1, but Skywarp says, "Removal means death." Thundercracker replies, "I will find another way to free you from this awful prison." I'm like 70% sure Thundercracker is going to help the Autobots and ask them for their help in freeing Skywarp. Comment below what you guys think is going to happen. From here, we're going to transition to San Juan Islands with Spike Carly, Beachcomber, and RC closing in on Ultra Magnus's trail. RC thanks Beachcomber for helping her track down Magnus, and he responds that he's just happy to be useful in a good way, referring to something that doesn't involve violence. When RC asks him what changed him, why won't he fight, Beachcomber recalls the day the Decepticons attacked the Ark. Remember, we saw this from his point of view in my Shockwave brings Cybertron to Earth video, and we pretty much saw the entire battle in my Megatron escapes from Cobra-La video. Beachcomber goes on to say to RC, "It was total chaos, but through the broken hull, I could see stars, galaxies, life. All of a sudden, our small conflict seemed so meaningless. I just couldn't take part in it anymore. Fighting only happens when we choose to." RC replies with an amazing question. She says, "But Beachcomber, what if there is no choice? What if it's fight or die?" But before Beachcomber can answer, suddenly the team is fired upon. Carly and Spike are thrown into the water. RC goes to save them. Beachcomber is blown back. RC is the only one who realizes it's Ultra Magnus firing on them. He stopped when she calls out to him saying it's her. Ultra Magnus responds, "I'm sorry, I couldn't see. I lost myself building my fortress. I was only trying to keep myself safe." We see behind Magnus a makeshift fortress he's created. He is suffering majorly from PTSD. Remember, we last saw him in the Autobots battle against the Decepticons in the Pacific Ocean. He was tortured so badly by Shockwave for centuries that just seeing him again re-traumatized him. So he was essentially so scared of being tortured again by him that he ran from the battlefield in order to go somewhere where he would feel safe and secure. Now from here, we're going to transition to Cybertron. The Autobots prepare to head to the Well of Sparks. Alita mentions to Cliffjumper that his eyes hold hope, something she lost long ago. That she's been living a non-stop cycle that's been one foot in front of the other. One more Decepticon head to sludge. Lose a base, gain a base. Gain a friend, lose a friend. On and on. Cliffjumper points out to her that's why Optimus left, and that's why he lost hope for Cybertron. Her response not only confirms she's done with Optimus, but also confirms what I said in the last video, that she feels betrayed by him. And I honestly won't be surprised if she shoots him on sight, because she says, so what? He leaves? That's his solution? He had his chance to save us. We're on our own. Now in the Decepticon Civil War video, I mentioned that I think an Autobot Civil War might be on the horizon, but what Blue Streak says makes me feel like that might not happen. He chimes in on Cliffjumper and Alita's conversation, and points out to Alita that in the short time Optimus was on Cybertron, he took out Shockwave. He took the head of the Decepticon leadership on the planet, giving them a chance to gain the upper hand. He goes on to say, "You talk like no one else has lost someone. We've all lost so many. Now we've got a chance at reinforcements. These remnants of old warriors are a gift, Alita, and so are all our sparks." He then calls on Warpath, Blur, and Blades, and they all say they're ready to head out. When he calls on Alita, she replies, "You're right, Bluestreak. Let's take that gift and use it to shoot Decepticons in the face." One cool thing I want to point out here is Blades being here, because he is a member of the combiner team, the Protector Bots, who combine into Defensor. So the question is, where is the rest of the team? I don't think we will see them soon, since if you guys aren't aware, at the end of every Transformers issue, Skybound has something called the Matrix of Lettership, where they answer fan questions. One of the questions asked was, will we see an Autobot combiner team at some point? Daniel Warren Johnson answered with a childhood picture of himself with the captain of the Thunderbirds, an infantry brigade combat team. The theory out there is that he is teasing the Aerial Bots, who combine into Superion. They are the first Autobot combiner team to appear in the cartoon. If they pop up on Earth, that would make so much sense, since what the Autobots lack right now is aerial support. I mean, they do have Jetfire, but we have no idea what's up with him since he crash landed in the Pacific Ocean. It hasn't been confirmed, at least to my knowledge, whether he's alive or dead. He's kind of been forgotten since that happened. Another thing I want to point out here is about Shockwave. I have to shout out Toikin Dan She Warrior 2846, sorry if I butchered that, and Shinigami Sama H, who both theorized this in the comments of the Optimus Prime ending Shockwave video. Another of the fan questions was if Shockwave was really dead following his battle with Optimus Prime. Danny Warren Johnson only replied, dead or mostly dead. So possibly teasing and confirming that Shockwave is still alive and will be back at some point in the series with his traditional emotionless persona. Now transitioning to the Autobots on Earth, Wheeljack reports to Optimus that Bruticus is moving towards Seattle. When Optimus tries to tell the Autobots to roll out, Wheeljack cuts him off, asking what happened to him back at the dam. Optimus answers that he doesn't know, something came over him. Wheeljack mentions that if he's in the dark about what's going on with him, then they have to get back to the Ark ASAP and make sure he doesn't lose control again. However, Optimus refuses because there's no time to regroup when the Decepticons are putting human lives in danger. He says we must do what we can and hope for the best. Later in Seattle, Starscream's Decepticons, or Brigade I should probably call them, is wreaking havoc. Starscream aboard Astral Train is telling the Decepticons they have to win the race for Energon before Soundwave and his Decepticons. Suddenly, Bruticus is hit with a building by Devastator, with Soundwave riding his shoulder. And what happens next, oh my god, is absolutely hilarious. Starscream asks Soundwave, you think you have what it takes to defeat us, Soundwave? My boy Soundwave answers, actually, yes. Starscream responds, get real, you always were and will always be a I was dying when I first read this because I didn't expect that at all. Starscream cursing was amazing. Danny Warren Johnson got me with this one. As the two combiners battle in the city, the Autobots arrive. Initially, it seems like they're going to try and stop the Decepticons from fighting each other, but Optimus says, Autobots, there's only one thing to do. Prepare yourselves and save as many humans as you can. I love this image of the Autobots rolling out. They each save a group of humans from being the Decepticons' collateral damage. Optimus tells these humans to get into his vehicle, and a kid asks him, who the heck are you? Optimus answers, the name is Optimus Prime. We are here to rescue you. I love this. And I bet you this will be used in future issues and probably mentioned in the G.I. Joe comics that will show humanity not all the robots that are here on Earth are bad. And the other thing I bet is the emblems of their respective factions will be the factor in helping them distinguish between Autobots and Decepticons in the future. From here, we're going to transition back to Cybertron, and this is where it gets so freaking good. In the Decepticon base here at the Well of Sparks, we see another one of the Coneheads, Thrust, standing guard with Ratbat. What's interesting is that we're seeing him now and not when Soundwave was on Cybertron, and Soundwave has never mentioned him. This makes me think that maybe he isn't one of Soundwave's cassettes, or should I say Recordicons, since that's what they're called in this universe. He also doesn't have an animalistic nature like Ravage and Laserbeak. He's having a full-on conversation with Thrust about how antsy he's being about not being where the action is. Let me know what you all think about that. Thrust soon gets his wish because out of nowhere they're attacked by Bluestreak, Blur, and Warpath. What's cool is that Warpath has a skeletal right arm and his chest cannon isn't fully repaired. So this is just more evidence that the Autobots here, besides Energon, barely have any other resources to repair themselves with. Bluestreak initiates the next part of their plan by giving Alita the go-ahead. She and Cliffjumper come bursting in the base in their vehicle modes. Thrust and Ratbat chase after them. This is where we get a badass Alita moment. Cliffjumper brings this to Alita's attention as they drive into the flames here, providing them cover. And she's like, I see them. Get to the hall. I'm right behind you. Ratbat yells, show yourself, usurpers. Alita straight clotheslines him and Thrust at the same freaking time. My god, that was awesome. She literally takes them out in one move. She reaches the hall and asks Cliffjumper if he knows how to work the well, and he answers, my guess is as good as yours. Suddenly, it turns on. Alita asks Cliffjumper, what did you do? And Cliffjumper answers, nothing, it just turned on. What I really like about how Danny Warren Johnson is depicting the Well of Sparks here is that though it's presented to us as something that's mechanical, it does have a mystical nature to it. The computer system of the well says sparks needed for a creation event. Cliffjumper installs the canister of sparks into the well and activates the creation event. Eventually, the well's program asks for a secondary form to model. When Alita informs Cliffjumper of this, that's when he calls in Blades, who comes flying in and unloads what's left of Carly's smashed van into the well. Remember, it ended up on Cybertron back when Carly drove it into the middle of the Autobots and Decepticons battle on Earth, and Devastator had kicked it and Cliffjumper through the space bridge. The well completes the scan of Carly's van, and then the well explodes with energy. After the creation process ends, a voice calls out to Cliffjumper from the smoke created by the well, and says, Cliffjumper, we recognize. No, I recognize you from ages past. Cliffjumper replies, my new friend, tell me, what do the combined sparks of my clan call themselves? What is your name? The voice responds, my name is SHREDHEAD. SHREDHEAD looks freaking amazing. My god. Definitely without a doubt the coolest looking Transformer so far in the Energon universe. I just don't know how you can say it's not. It's like if He-Man and Shredder combined and then became a Transformer. This is what I imagine they would look like. Well, that's the end of the video. Let me know what you all think of SHREDHEAD and the story so far. Subscribe to the channel, and other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember every day to go beyond.